So my presentation is on Ford. Pretty much, Ford has been a company that's been with us for lots and lots of years, a little bit over a century now. During that time, they actually managed to do a lot as far as production, money, and investments. They've influenced the car manufacturing business a lot. Now that's with the vehicles that they produce. Mainly, they produce pickup trucks, sedans, and types of those vehicles. A lot of their cars are middle to low class, making it easier for the common man to purchase a vehicle. They're kind of the things that they say as far as their pickup line is Ford built tough, and the Fords that they produce as far as pickup trucks are reliable. They're really powerful, and with the stuff that they can do as far as capabilities off-road or on-road are awesome. If you ever drive down the street and you notice that there's like a tow truck, notice a lot of them will turn out to be Fords. And that's great. It proves that a lot of companies that know what they're doing choose Fords. Excuse me. The next thing we're going to talk about is just overall stuff about the company. The company wasn't actually created by Ford the individual. Henry Ford was a co-owner of the company that ended up being the owner in later times. And it was all because the company was structured on investments. It was an idea brought to life, and a key investor said, all right, I'll invest, however I have to be considered the president of the company. And Ford was actually the vice president. And what happened there is after several years, when Ford went into its prime, William Clay, who was the owner at the time, died unexpectedly, and so Ford took over. And with that, he started producing more and more cars. And in a matter of 18 years, he produced 1 million cars. Now, for those days, the early 1900s, that was a lot. That was a huge amount of cars because it was those times where technology wasn't so advanced. And now, in these days, the cars that they produce are still cars that are produced in masses. Lots of companies use them. But however, with the recent years, they've switched over their idea of having those simply made vehicles, and now they're turning into luxurious vehicles. If you notice, that's the 2013 Ford Fusion. With Fusions, they look typically ugly. I don't have a picture of the old one, but my family owns one. They're ugly. They were really basic in how they were constructed. Now, if you look below, that's the new Ford Fusion. And the new Ford Fusion is technologically advanced. It has sensors built into the vehicle telling you, hey, you're too close to a car. All that technology is in those cars. The next thing we're going to talk about is how they're structured on the inside, other than just the technological based stuff. This is a picture of the Ford F-350, and if you notice, the center console is huge. Those cars made by Ford are produced to have lots of room. And I've driven a Ford F-350, a Super Duty, and oh, it's so great because it's all leather. It has a lot of room. It's powerful, but you got to know what you're doing. And then the next thing we're going to talk about is how broad Ford is. Ford, as far as what they do, they have racing teams. They have all these different branches that they spread out to. And amongst that is NASCAR, Gymkhana, and Australian V8 racing. And with NASCAR, they actually innovated NASCAR. NASCAR uses fuel called Sunoco fuel, and they've created an EcoBoost NASCAR that typically, those NASCARs burn a lot of gas. So they created an EcoBoost vehicle to save fuel and conserve the environment. So that's a way that they have managed to influence other racing corporations. Another thing we're going to talk about is Ford in the working environment. Now, we talked about the pickup trucks and how reliable they are. There is the environment of law enforcement. And with law enforcement, lots of companies use Ford. Lots of law enforcement agencies use Ford. whether it's, well, hell, Norwich uses Ford, so does Harvard Heights. So it's a very popular company. Their vehicles are proven to be reliable, and even if something breaks, because it's products produced in mass amounts and that they cost next to nothing because of that, it's easy to find the part that you need, whether it's a lug nut this small or just the engine. So that's a really key thing that a lot of individuals base their decision on getting a Ford. They also annually release their annual reports, which proves to be a very good thing. As I've reviewed some of the reports that they've made over recent years, and they are earning quite a bit of money, and this is all through Ford.com, which in the end allows them to make their cars cheaper. You know, if the more we're making, the cheaper I can make the car, because the more I'm earning. You know. Another thing is, there's the very popular Ford vehicle in law enforcement. It's the Ford Crown Victoria. Stopped being produced in 2011. I read on jalopnik.com, Chicago police actually ordered 500 Fords, the ones on the left. That's the Ford Interceptor sedan and the utility. They ordered 500 of those under a contract from Ford, and they're actually going to be produced in Chicago to create even more jobs in their area. And then right now what we're going to go on a sidetrack off of too is just commercials and what Ford does to cause us to buy vehicles from them. And they use a lot of commercial strategies. For example, like the last picture that you saw that I kind of blazed through. Give me a second. No.
I'm Mike Rowe, and I'm spreading the word about Ford.
No, stop. Right here. This is actually an advertising thing that we talked about. While it just seems like a simple picture with some text over it, technically you could consider that bandwagon. You know, get the hard facts, Super Duty pickup. It tells you, jump on that, you take this car, and actually, she owns one. So like, obviously, people are jumping on this bandwagon.
They're reliable, Sarah.
There you go. First hand. Give me a second.
Drive on that.
How to fix Internet Explorer. I clicked you in the throat. Give me a second, guys. Technical.
No problem.
Yeah.
He has to open the
Oh.
website. Yeah. The last one.
In this video, pretty much we see Micro, and in the commercial, Micro has actually been used several times by Ford for their commercials. So obviously that has something to do with how he is a typical American man. He's actually been on Nat Geographic and Discovery Channel. He had his own show for a while called Dirty Jobs. So he's done a lot, especially with the TV and stuff like that. So let's just hear this and we'll talk about it once we're done. This name, you can turn this on.
Gosh, that banana though.
Ford. Now here's the Mustang. First thoughts, first impressions.
Nice.
Gorgeous. It's been totally redone. The sync system is put in there. You want to look at the Mustang?
I'd actually like to check it out.
Let's check out the glass roof.
That's very nice.
That's huge.
That's Mercedes muscle here.
Now get 0% financing or 0,000 cash back on Ford Mustang. Spread the word and drive one.
There's Max sitting in a Mustang. There's Max sitting in an Accord. What's cooler?
So, as you noticed here, this involves the common man. Max, in this case, was the common man, and Micro was the celebrity. And like I mentioned, the commercial aspects that they use is, testimonial as far as Micro being involved, and plain folk as far as Max being there. And another advertisement that I have, this isn't actually Micro being in it, but it's kind of funny, so I chose it. And this just, again, talks about how innovative Ford is and what they do. And you'll notice, as we progress in the commercial, what it really does.
Works serious. Hey, Josh. No, he wasn't paying attention. That's why I said it. Okay, that's all.
Hallo, aber mal nicht dagegen hauen, bitte. Hallo. Don't do it. Stop. Wir hauen doch da gegen die Tür. Hört ihr so an, das ist bald genug.
With Ford, the stuff that they do to their cars, not only in the engine, but in how reliable it is and sensual. You know, it's a door protector. It's not something that you just think of when you create the car. It's a detail that you go into, and we can see how detailed Ford makes their cars and how they care about the consumer. So, with that being said, I personally, I have a Ford. I don't care how early it is. It's been through like 4 accidents, one of them pretty serious, and it's still up and running. It still works perfectly. So get a Ford if you guys can. There we go. I'm done.